Hello and welcome to this little video of Easter eggs and things you may have missed in Bobby Normal and the Black Dragon, the fifth and final novella in the series of the Bobby Normal books set in the far future of the Sam Spallucci universe. Now, before I whiffle on for the next few minutes and probably get interrupted by my cat who's sat here, please, quick like, quick subscribe would be absolutely marvellous. The more people interact with these videos, the more they get seen on YouTube and varying platforms, which means the more people end up reading my books, which is just fantastic. I love sharing these stories. So go away and have a good old click. And while you're doing that, I'm going to just say a quick thank you to all the people who helped make this book possible. These are my Patreons and those who backed the Kickstarter and chose to have a little shout out in this video. So thank you to Debs McGowan, Beck Pierce, Lee Hardy, Paul Lewis, Kevin Denwood, Jacob Matz and Gemma Innes. Thank you guys, you are absolutely amazing. Number 1, The Abyss. So we pick up the story exactly where we left off at the end of Bobby Normal and the Fallen. Bobby has tracked down this threefold manifestation of the Abyss. She stands under this massive oak tree and she has said to him that she wants to send him back to go and save Sam Spallucci. The oak tree is an interesting thing because it is so rare to have something like this in the Divergent lands. Oh, well, why is that then? Well, Shreddy, it's because Kanor has had the vast majority of proper trees destroyed, cut down, pulped, burnt, because he knows that fire is the biggest weapon that humans have against constructs. Constructs are made from clay. If you can get them all nice and heat, they'll go solid, and then the idea is that you can break them. As Bobby studies a tree, he studies the pattern on it and he remembers a lesson which his father taught him about how grief can do terrible things to people, how it can change their personality. All I'll say here is just remember that, because it's rather important for the Spallucciverse as a whole. And also the Abyss tells Bobby that she showed an image of him and Katie to the children of Cain when they were much younger. A long time ago, which they've probably forgotten about. And we can actually see this in the little short story Family Reunion. Number 2, the Titan. Now this is an image which is really dominating this part of the Sam Spallucci books and the short stories around it. The image of this winged Titan rising up into the firmament with the cup and the blade, slicing the heavens open and destroying the universe. Sam has seen it in Fury of the Fallen, and here Bobby sees it in Bobby Normal and the Black Dragon. The identity of the Titan, however, will be revealed in Sam Spallucci Lux Eterna, which is due out, hopefully, later on this year. Number 3, Paradox. So the notion of a paradox is something which goes way back to Sam Spallucci Ghosts from the past. When Sam goes back in time, when the Abyss takes him back in time to stop Malcolm Wallace, he creates this sort of paradoxical timeline. There are things in this timeline which exist which shouldn't be there. Oh, I know this one. Yes, it's his lighter, isn't it? That's right, Shrody. Sam has this lighter, which is actually based on my lighter. And it was given to him by Caroline after the moment when he changed the universe, when he changed the timeline. So it shouldn't exist. And also, Sam remembers things from this timeline which didn't exist, and Asher explains that because he was at the center of this paradoxical happening, as it were, that's why. Now here the Abyss is saying that she's going to do the same with Bobby. She can send him back in time and he will become some sort of living paradox in order to save Sam and prevent the rise of Kanor. Number 4, A Nightmare About Katie. So here we have Bobby having another nightmare about Katie, and this follows on from the one in Bobby Normal and the Fallen. And this time we see she has now gone full vamp. But she's not sort of like noble vampire like Claw and Children of the Cane. She's old school. She's given into that darkness inside of her. And yeah, she's all teeth, fangs, and pure bloodlust. The question is this just Bobby's fears? Or could this possibly happen? Number 5, the Temple of Asmodeus. So when Bobby is dragged in to see the male fallen, we have a scene which is a massive crossover into Sam Spallucci, Lux Eterna, which, like I say, will come out later on this year. And as Bobby walks down the carpet to meet Asmodeus, we have these 4 representations of his heroic deeds. Now, in Lux Eterna, Sam knows what they are, and being Sam, he just despairs at the fact that Asmodeus has rewritten history to suit his own, ego. So go on then, what are they? Well, we have Asmodeus fighting the Minotaur. We have Asmodeus slaying the Medusa. We have Asmodeus crossing the Delaware River, rather than George Washington. And we have Asmodeus on the Apollo mission, being the first person to walk on the moon. To the best of my knowledge, he did none of these. Number 6, Cutter. So here we have Cutter doing what Cutter normally does best, and that is rescuing Bobby once again. And this time not only does he go full Shadow Wraith, but he reverts back to that wolf image, that wolf persona that we saw way back in Bobby Normal and the Eternal Talisman. Bobby and the villagers. So Bobby's interaction with the villagers who are on the run from Asmodeus shows us just how much he has developed as a character. He's gone from being this scared little street urchin just living to survive to actually becoming quite a leader. And for me, this is sort of a parallel between Bobby and Sam. We're starting to get quite a bit of this. We're seeing how both of them have developed, how they started off oblivious to the world around them, but they've been dragged into this shadowy world. And we can start to compare and contrast how the two of them have reacted either in a similar fashion or differently. Number 8, the creation of Cutter. So as the villagers are making the fire trap, Bobby and Cutter have a little chat about when Cutter was created. And they talk about he was the first of the Shadow Wraiths, and how all the other Shadow Wraiths that came after him were created by Asmodeus. He was in fact created by Kanor. Now, the sharp-eyed of you, we should pick something up here. This implies that he has knowledge which you, the reader, don't have. He has walked in the presence of his creator, and he knows who that person is. Number 9, the fire trap. So we have the villagers here applying that one weapon which they know can defeat constructs. Like I said before, it's the concept of fire. Lots of wood, bake them hard, smash them to bits. However, spoilers, I'm hoping you've read the book already, it fails. It fails abysmally. And it fails because of what can be seen as sort of humanity's greatest flaw, untrustworthiness. And they are betrayed by one of their own. However, afterwards, Cutter makes sure that that person, that Quisling, suffers greatly because of their betrayal. Number 10, Bobby's father. So, after Bob has been knocked out and Cutter is making their little guest comfortable, shall we say, Bobby has his final dream in the series of books, and he dreams of his dad. He does what I think a lot of us might do in his situation. We ask our loved one, am I doing the right thing? Am I getting it right? And yeah, it's a very touching scene, because how many times do we wish we could do what Bobby's doing here? How many times do we wish we could talk to a long lost loved one and say, am I doing good? Number 11, who destroyed humanity's innocence. Okay, so while they're trying to work out what they're going to do next, Bobby and Cutter talk about humanity in general. Bobby suggests that humanity was probably innocent at some point, a long, long time ago. Cutter says, well, somebody gave them a nice long pointy stick, and don't take your eye out of it, sort of thing, you know. Oh, well, I guess we'll never know who that person was. Well, you say that, buddy, but funnily enough, in Child of Fire, the story regarding Amanda, the second twin, which is due out 2025, we actually learn more about that story. And in A Fallen Angel, which will be my big work, which ties everything together before we have the Divergent Lands trilogy, we actually go back in time and see the person given that great big pointy stick. I won't say who, but I will say why. It was intended to be to prepare them as a weapon against Kanor and the constructs. But anyway, that's for another time. Number 12, The Ferryman. The Ferryman first turned up in a short story called The Virtuous Man. This one, which I originally wrote as a teenager, then repurposed and reworked it so it fit nicely with the goings-on in the Spallucciverse. And in The Virtuous Man, we have Jason from Bobby Normal and The Virtuous Man trying to get across to All Saints Church. He has to cross the lake, and he has to pay the ferryman to get across. And here we find out, along with Bobby, if you haven't read that short story, that the payment to get across the river is in fact the Eternal Talisman, and that's why the Virtuous Man needed it. Number 13, All Saints and Kanor. So, here we have it, the climax of all 5 books. Bobby finally walks into All Saints Church, and as I do whenever All Saints is mentioned or introduced to characters in the Spallucciverse, we have his view on the building. So when Sam goes back, he reminisces about being a chorister. When Tigress and Scorpion go back, they get excited because, of course, there's the woodwork up there which portrays them. When the Potency goes there, she gets very excited because her mummy's there. And when Alec goes there, spoilers, if you haven't read Alec's stories in Sam, it has been referred to, he gets terrified because he knows that terrible things are going to happen to him. A really amusing one is, again, in Child of Fire, due out 2025, when Amanda steps foot in there, and she's not impressed. It's not her thing. So when Bobby walks in, he's overcome with this sense of foreboding, this sense of nausea, and he recognises there's this horrible stench in the air. Now, it could just be that the stench is that the building is in this terrible state of decay. However, in Fury of the Fallen, Asher has said to Sam that magic has a particular aroma. And you've got to remember that Kanor has been using dark magic here, so that is going to affect how the building smells. And talking of Kanor, Bobby gets to meet him. Now, I can't say face to face because, as is always, Kanor has got his cowl down over his hood. So Bobby still doesn't know who Kanor is when he lunges towards the font to use the abyss to go back in time and save Sam. Number 14, the epilogue. If you want one single passage which has got lots of links to other things and is probably going to suggest how things are going to pan out for the Spallucciverse, it's probably this little passage. And it'd be worth going over it with a fine tooth comb. Well, why is that then? Well, surely, I've only got a couple of minutes left on this video, so there'll be just not enough time to point absolutely everything out. So knock yourself out, have a good read, see if you've got any ideas, stick them in the comments below, but look at the relationship between Kanor and the Abyss. Who's actually using who here? They seem quite pally-pally, but there's a bit of an edge. And what's more, we have this exact moment when Kanor starts sending the constructs back. For me, there are certain points of magnitude, as it were, in the Spallucciverse, And this is one of them. The Rise of the Titan is another one. The Rise of Kanon and the Divergence is another. But this point, when the constructs start going back, if this hadn't happened, nothing else would. And who's the first one to go back? Cutter. Because Cutter, bless him, thought he could defy his master, but in the end, Kanor's still pulling the strings. And he has a job for him. The question is what? When he goes back in time, where is he going to end up? Who is he going to be? And what impact is it going to have on the forthcoming Sam Spallucci stories? Again, I'd love to hear your ideas. Stick them in the comments down below. And that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the book. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love writing the book and I love making these little videos. Again, please, little like, little subscribe would be absolutely marvellous. The more interaction I get on this, the more other people see it. And that's just nice because then other people can read my books and I go, oh, nice warm feelings. Anyway, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of your life, but keep looking for what lurks in the shadows. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.